Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at some ETH data. And so this is Friday morning, September 19th. Going to be going over the data from September 18th. Going to be going over ETFs as well as Treasury companies. And there's a new feature here on the website, strategicethreserve.xyz, that is pretty cool. I discovered it yesterday by accidentally clicking on something. I wanted to share that with you guys as well, and also going to go over some charts. But anyways, here looking at the data, it looks like we got some green with the flows, so pretty cool there. And so yeah, just scrolling down here to look at the ETFs, looking at them in USD. We can see that for September 18th, we got a net inflow of about $213 million. So looking pretty good there. Pretty excited about that. It looks like BlackRock's ETF, the iShares ETF, ETHA, did not buy any. However, if we look over at Grayscale, we can see that their ETF, ticker symbol ETHE, as well as their mini ETF, which I'm not really too familiar with that one, ticker symbol ETH. We saw inflows of about 10 million and about 23 million there. Looking over at Fidelity's ETF, FETH, they saw inflows of about $159.4 million. And so that's really, the big player for Thursday, pushing that up to 213 million in inflows. Then we also see Bitwise's ticker symbol ETHW, seeing inflows of about $17.5 million. And then ETHZ, which is, let's scroll down to check that one out. ETHZ is the Franklin Ethereum ETF, and that one also saw inflows of about $13.5 million. So a lot of inflows, no outflows here for the ETFs. So that is just looking great. And then if we do flip over to the ETH chart, we can see that it's currently trading around $4,530, somewhere around there. And we have been putting in lower highs. Maybe I can just draw a little bit of a trend line there. So I think that's going to be an important one for us to break above. And with that breakout, what we want to see is volume spiking up, volume also breaking out, backing up that move. But, the market has a very tricky way of playing with us. So I would not be surprised if we did see a fake out dump to the downside, maybe coming down to test that 50-day simple moving average around $4,300, also corresponding with this 236 Fibonacci retracement here based on, the low over here just above Ed's head up to the high here, and that just extended forward into the future. And I might actually move that forward so we can see those numbers a little bit more clearly. But yeah, if we do see a little bit of a drop to around $4,300, I would view that as a dip buying opportunity. And if we do break out above, let's say around $4,600, if we see a close notably above that with volume behind it, I think we could be taking off. And with that being said, since I am talking about the volume down here, let's also look at the RSI. That looks like it has put in kind of, flat top here, the double peak here, but we are now putting in lower highs in the RSI corresponding with the lower highs over here. So while there was some weak hidden bearish divergence over here, so that's with lower highs in the price and flat in the RSI. So there's divergence there, but that being weak because it's just flat double top here rather than a higher high. Now that we're putting in lower highs in both, there's no bearish divergence. Maybe that's a sign that we're getting ready to break out. But then coming back to the ETFs over here, we can scroll up to look at the data. Maybe I'm just going to scroll down a little bit so you can see Thursday's Thursday's number right there. And so what we see here is that the ETFs do hold in total about 6.8 million ETH, which is valued at over $30 billion, about $30.82 billion. And the inflows from yesterday, if I do switch over to ETH here, let's see if that does match, 46.4 thousand. 46.44 thousand ETH, so that does match. And then in total, the ETF Ethereum reserves represent about 5.62% of the supply of ETH, so that is just looking great. But then if we do start to consider the SER or Strategic ETH Reserve entities, they represent about almost $5 million. No. Sorry, it's the morning and this is a little rough. I got to get headed to work. About 5 million ETH valued at $22.62 billion. And it looks like there's about 68 participants. And in total, that represents about 4% of the supply. And so of those participants, one of them that I'm not familiar with was added yesterday. Looks like September 18th, Sandclock sold about 1.8 thousand Ethereum. But then very interesting, if I scrolled through this and I actually searched the page for Sandclock, and we can only see the one here, so it doesn't look like they're included in this list of, it looks like 69 with Cosmos Health here at the bottom, different entities. So I am a little bit confused about that, but they did sell about 2,000 ETH. I don't really view that as too big of a deal because we do still have the leaders on here holding their Ethereum, which includes Bitmine Immersion, ticker symbol BMNR. They hold over 2 million ETH at 2.15 million ETH, valued at nearly $10 billion. And then the number 2 is going to be SharpLink Gaming, ticker symbol SBET or SBET or SBET. They have 838.15 thousand ETH, valued at just under 4 billion. And so let's look at those two tickers real quick, but I gotta get headed to work soon, so this is gonna be pretty quick. What we can see with Bitmine, ticker symbol BMNR, is that we did kind of get, what I view as like a topping tail or maybe a little bit of selling into the highs yesterday. So on Thursday, Bitmine hit a high of $63.53, but then closed sub 60 at $59.96, currently trading in the pre-market at $59.50. So I could see a little bit of a retracement, and it is interesting. I don't have it, lined up exactly. But that, let's see, 236. So we go up and then we pull back. And so this retracement is to identify levels that we could pull back to. So this is not necessarily that significant, but we did bounce up to that 236. And so a way for me to kind of get a better idea about that is I'm just going to actually move this. Oops. That's locked into place. So what I might do is just move it back one day over here. And so we have that, and that's kind of the Fibonacci retracement to that downside. And then now we can do a retracement from the top here to the bottom to get an idea of where it could be going up to. And so with that, it looks like we broke past the 618, which is at 59.56, nearly got to the 786 at 64.92, and maybe we are going to be pulling back some. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to have that approximately lined up there so we can see if that is the top, and then I'm going to do another fib retrace, but from the bottom here to that top, and then we could see where this could be pulling back to. So coming down to that 50-day simple moving average, which would be around $45.79. That would correspond approximately with the retracement to the 786 at around $45. But I suspect, just looking at this, we do have a lot of consolidation over here, and that 50-day moving average did, kind of consolidate in this range. So like a 50% retracement will be coming down to like $52, 618 will be around 49. So I could see those as being some nice dip buying opportunities if we do pull back, or maybe this topping signal is a bit of a fake out and we do start to launch maybe up to around $160. But let's move on to SBET real quick. Again, I got to remind myself, ticker symbol SBET did hit a high yesterday of $18.67, but pulled back closing at 1722 and in the pre-market, basically flat from close, trading around 1720. And so with this one, it hasn't even gotten up to that 50-day simple moving average, which is at around $21. So that is a level I would like to see us move up to, hold, and then break higher, or break through and test it as support before then continuing higher. But then coming back to the website here, this is something that I wanted to share with you guys. I accidentally clicked on the graph over here. Actually, I noticed this expand feature here. And so what we can do is, we can do a day-by-day comparison of the different purchases and or sells of the companies buying, and so that's going to be in green. And we can also do that just looking at it here, and we can see the daily different moves there. So I think that's really cool. I haven't explored it much. Also, we can just look at the ETFs, but that's a little bit more boring because we do have, that data more easily accessible. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that up there for you guys. You could definitely check it out if you like. But anyways, I got to get headed to work. And so as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I'll see you later. Have a great Friday and a great start to your weekend. Take care, guys.